Kan jam 1. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Mana sih? Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wa bihi nasta'inu ala murid dunya waddin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli, amma ba'du. Yang saya hormati Bapak Segu Atio MA selaku chair di room ketiga ini. Yang saya hormati, yang saya banggakan dan saya kagumi seluruh panelis yang telah memberikan karya-karya yang sangat luar biasa di dalam agenda Borneo Undergraduates Academy Forum ini. Semoga segala hal yang telah kita lakukan, segala hal yang telah teman-teman panelis sampaikan, itu nantinya menjadi amal jariah untuk kita semua. Amin ya rabbal alamin. Nah, untuk di room ketiga ini, kita akan membahas tema besar yaitu English Teaching and Learning. Agak susah bahasa Inggrisnya, karena memang saya pribadi tidak terlalu menguasai bahasa Inggris, Pak. Lebih menguasai bahasa Jerman biasanya. Untuk waktu di forum ini, di room 3, kita diberikan waktu selama 1 jam setengah. Dan waktu di sini yang tertulis itu 13.00 sampai 14.30. Jadi waktunya itu 1 jam setengah, silakan diefisienkan nantinya kepada chair. Dan sebelum kita masuk ke inti dari forum ini, saya akan memperkenalkan chair kita dari kurikulum vitae singkatnya. Nama beliau adalah Segu MA. Tempat tanggal lahir Sekadau 10 Desember 1973. Bidang keahlian beliau aktif di bidang Fakultas Keilmuan Pendidikan dan Bahasa Inggris. Jabatan sekarang adalah lektor atau kepala pusat bahasa. Jadi segala hal yang bersifat bahasa, baik bahasa Inggris, bahasa Arab, itu sertifikasinya lewat beliau. Mungkin tanpa berlama-lama kita langsung aja berikan kepada chair kita. Kurang dan lebihnya mohon maaf. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Berbunyi namanya. Berbunyi namanya. Enggak apa-apa lah kalau enggak bunyi enggak apa-apa. Kita taruh sini. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, I don't want to talk a lot about me, about anything else. I would like to hear from you. Okay, so your presentation will be maybe much more interesting. I would like to invite the first speaker from the State Islamic University of Samarinda, Muhammad Fadli. Silakan, the floor is yours. Boleh kamu pakai, you can use.
Tes. Enggak, ini untuk ke Zoom ya? Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. First of all, thank you so much for joining our presentations. And the Honorables, Mr. Sugo Atio MA, as the chairman of this venue, this panel. And first of all, I would like to introduce myself, everyone. So my name is Muhammad Fadli. I am one of the delegate of State Islamic University of Samarinda. So today I would like to not propose, I want to share my research that I've been conducting for several months when I was doing my community service program or KKN. So let's start by introductions. My name is Muar Fadli. I am the undergraduate student of English Education Department in UIN Samarinda. Where is my desk? Okay, Bu. Oh, sorry. Okay. Before I mention my titles, I would like to share my research backgrounds. For anyone who don't know what is research backgrounds basically is why my research is important to be conducted. So this is the reasons why my research is to be conducted in this situation of the pandemics. Before I share my title, I would like to share the backgrounds. So let's start with the this is the what that we are facing right now. There's COVID-19 pandemics. So as we all know, this current situation of pandemics has made changes to all states of life and spread across the globe. Yeah. So no matter what world you're in, we're not alone in this situation that we are facing currently right now. So based on the data from the Charaka et al. 2020, on actually this coronavirus disease originated from Wuhan, China, but on December, the first cases on December. But from the recent of Charaka et al. 2020, the cases on January it's already spread outside the Wuhan. Okay, the first cases on December, but outside the Wuhan is January 2020. And it also, what I mentioned before, is affected all aspect of human life. What I mean by that is affected an economical, educational system is changed our world right now. That's the research from Sharon et al. 2020. Let's talk about the affected Indonesia. So, like I mentioned before, the spread outside the Wuhan on March 2020. It's the first cases found in Indonesia on March 2020, but after month on the April, it spreads all to 34 provinces in Indonesia. It's also from the research from Charaka et al. It's affected 1 million people in Indonesia. So let's talk about the lockdown that we are currently facing. So Indonesia, has experienced the lockdown. That's why the made changes from all aspects of life in Indonesia, including teaching and learning process. So basically, before that we used to learning in the class, but because this pandemic, we changed the system from the offline to online system to observe physical distancing to stay maintain each other. That's the research from Pajarianto et al. 2020. So this data is also readable because it's years ago. Okay, next. Okay, still research backgrounds. So online learnings. What is online learnings? Online learning because online learning is one of the best solution right now because it's to continue our learning and teaching process. We use the online learning by using social media such as YouTube, Flickrs, Facebook, Zoom. That is part of the social media that we currently use. That if you realize that this pandemic pushes us to use technology more further. So this one of the positive side of the pandemic. Pandemic pushes us to use technology more advanced than before the pandemic hit us. So in this context of the research, I'm using the audio visual media that are also very popular that maybe one of you always watch and use in your mobile phones, that is YouTube. This from the research from Abu Slashek 2015. So why YouTube? Because YouTube used by million users from all over the world, from all across the globe. The most video sharings. So YouTube also as the source of the online contents for teaching a learning process. This is based on the research of the Abdurrahim Al-Murashi 2016. Next. So YouTube also provided the English learning video. There are less pressure that gaining English vocabulary, because this research I choose the primarily data of the Mr. Dennis YouTube channels. So Mr. Dennis YouTube channel has 550,000 subscribers. Then its video has 40,000 likes from his devoted fans. This data from the research Ahli Fatia 2020. So why I'm using the Mr. Dennis YouTube channel to gain students vocabulary by watching his video on YouTube, because from his YouTube, it has the video of learning English by including entertainments, news, and educations. The data from the research in Pijati 2016, Indonesian school-based, so everyone's Indonesia also conducted the Indonesian's book-based and teacher-led process. So before the pandemic, we always use books or the traditional methods before the pandemic. But because of the pandemic, we use this media platform is one of my solutions to gain students' vocabulary, to learning English. So for everyone who don't know what is the Mr. D and the channels, this is Mr. D. He is the native speaker that and also content creator that has the career in Indonesia to educate Indonesian people for learning English more further. This is the YouTube channel of Mr. D. So let's move on. So hence, in order to respond of the research background that I've been compiled, this is my titles. So my title is about the analysis of student vocabulary through Mr. Dennis YouTube channels. This is a study case, everyone's study case of 7th semester student of English Department of Teacher Training and Education Faculty at UNC Samarinda. Next. So we have to talk about the research methodology, how this research with the method and designs. So this, my research using the research qualitative, everyone's using the qualitative descriptive study. The design is qualitative descriptive study with the respondents, 7th semester student English Education Department. It is also my limitation of the study because I was not able to analyze the holistic of the whole populations. This represents from the whole populations. So the instrument, I'm using the triple instrument. There are questionnaire, interview, and documentations. From the questionnaire, I have 7 questions, and the interview, I took 2 of the research respondents out of 20 participants to represent all the entire populations. And documentation taken from the YouTube channel of the Mr. D. This is the research finding, everyone's from the questionnaire. There are 7 questions from the research questionnaire. So basically, I was asking about the effectiveness, the how funds of the learning Mr. D, how many you watch the Mr. D YouTube channel every day. This is from the example of question number 1. How how many watch Mr. D YouTube channels? From 50% says seldom, and 30% said very often. 10% very seldom and never. So let's talk about the question. I don't wanna explain all of them because I have the limitation of times. So basically, the conclusion of my questionnaire. So out of the 7 questionnaire, the five number 2, number 3, number 5, number 6, and number 7 has the positive response on online learning English vocabulary. So from my questionnaire, it shows that 5 numbers that represent the positive response on. It has the positive response on online learning English vocabulary. That shows that my research instruments works in this research. Wait, I think we have the connections problem, everyone. All right, let's next to the second instrument of my research. This is the instrument interviewer instruments. So I took the 2 of the out of 20 respondents to represent my data randomly. So from it could be conclusions that the conclusion of the interview section is the first one is the interview sections that their perspective of the online language learning is a positive because they face many obstacles, everyone, during the online classes, and their understanding of the material is also lacking. The conclusions number 2, however, their English vocabulary improved through learning autonomy by watching videos of Mr. D that influenced them in the mastering English vocabulary. So in conclusions, this pandemic pushes us to use technology more further. That I know that one of you also has the YouTube and your phone. So because this pandemic, we can use that media platform to watch YouTube Guruku Mr. D, watch their video to gain your vocabulary in this situation of the pandemics. I think that's it. That's the end of the material of my research. I want to say that I hope that my research that I've been conducted is gain your knowledge and wisdom that someday you can transfer into actions that you may apply in the real life. That's it. Thank you. Wallahu a'lam bishawab. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. That channel has the entertainment. It's not also to educate other people by the boring method, but also there's comedy and news and entertainment that make us loud, fun learnings in by native speaker. But Mr. D is also in Indonesia, influencer.
Okay, before we give another
So, okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Rizkyatun Aulia. I would like to ask about your research. My question is, why is it only 2 response you ask, which is there are 20 respondents, but why do you choose only 2 person? Is it 2 people? Is it those 2 people already present 20 people that you doing the interview with it. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much for the very good questions. So why did I choose to respond out of 20 participants? So in my mind, what I know in qualitative research, even you can took one participant in qualitatives because it represents our data. It's different from the quantitative that has the minimals of the respondents, but in qualitatives, even one respondent can represent the whole of the entire populations. Thank you so much.
Does that answer your question?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nuril Lamsari. I'm from Winsi Samarinda. So my question is, what do you think? How many percents of the effectiveness for students to increase their vocabulary through Mr. D channel? Just that's it. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much for the question. Very good questions. Basically this study is qualitative research. This is analysis research, using the qualitative descriptive. So if we were talking about effective, it's talking about the data of number and percents. So I can mention how effective by mentioning the number, but from my 7 of my questionnaire that has validated, is only valid. It shows that from the 5 of the 7 questionnaire shows that positive response towards learning vocabulary through Guruku Mr. D's YouTube channels. I think that's it. Okay, that's it. Anyone? Thank you.
Well, I think we can give a round of applause to Muhammad Fadli. Thank you so much for joining us, Fadli. And I think I learned, something today. I'm going to check that channel out. I'm going to check it out tonight. Mr. D. I've never heard of this YouTuber. I think, I just assumed that he's an interesting teacher. And it will be maybe very useful for you, maybe for me, for the students maybe here to also check his channel out. Yeah. Okay, thank you once again. And I will go to the next presenter. Nur Nilam Sari. She's also from the State Islamic University of Samarinda. Okay. Yeah, so she's going to talk about her research, the student speaking anxiety on speaking performance at UIN Samarinda. Oh. I see. So S and I Sultan Idris. Oh, so Sultan Idris State Islamic University of Samarinda. I didn't know that. Thank you. Yeah, Nur.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wa bihi nasta'in wa ala umuri dunya waddin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain amma ba'd. Okay, first let me introduce myself. My name is Nurni Lamsari. I'm from Sultan Haji Muhammad Idris State Islamic University of Samarinda. I am from English Education Department 7th semester. Okay, so today I'm going to present my articles. I'm going to share you a little bit about the student speaking anxiety on speaking performance at UINSI Samarinda. During this presentation, I will use mix both Indonesian and English. Okay, so it is an important nowadays to get an English education because English is a global lingua franca or international language. People would find it easy to interact with other people through language because language is a medium for contact and communicate relationship with others. With language, we can share our opinions, thoughts, informations, and also we can get the details from the others too. In English learning, there are 4 skills. There are 4 main skills. The first one is listening. The second one is reading. The third is writing. And the fourth is speaking. So speaking is one of the most important aspect in language English learning. Classroom are important for. However, most students experience a feeling of anxiety. And this is not only occur in beginners, but also in university students who usually deal with English. They tend to feel anxious when speaking performance. Okay, now, the question is, what is anxiety? Anyone knows? Okay. Okay, so anxiety is the sense of panic attacks. It is emotional response that occur while speaking. Emotions are important because they affect speaking. If students feel safe, they will speak more effectively. However, anxiety, depression, and frustration affect student performance to be ineffective. So this is why I bring these issues to my article, because there are most of students experience a feeling of anxiety. So we're gonna move to the kinds of anxiety. According to Albert Ellis, there are 3 kinds of anxiety. The first one is trait anxiety. So trait anxiety is a more permanent tendency to be nervous, and it is part of character of an individual, and it's just persistent and difficult, if not unable to get away with. Jadi trait anxiety ini adalah salah satu kecemasan di mana seseorang itu cenderung atau bahkan sifatnya bersifat permanen. Dan ini sangat sulit untuk dihilangkan karena bersifat bawaan dari dalam diri. So I asked the students, in what situation do you feel anxious? And then the student one answer, I tend to feel anxious in various situations, especially when I have to talk in a crowd, hear bad news, get anxious when I see an animal that I'm afraid of, and many other feelings of anxiety for no apparent reason. And then the student 3 said that I get anxious very easily. I get anxious when I see other people's anxious, when I'm criticized, when I see others being scolded, and worry about the feelings of people who don't talk to me for no reason. So, dari sini kita bisa lihat bahwa sebenarnya itu adalah sesuatu yang pada umumnya orang tidak perlu merasa cemas. Tetapi untuk orang-orang yang memiliki trait anxiety, dia cenderung merasa cemas untuk hal-hal yang sifatnya kecil atau yang tidak begitu serius. So we can conclude that from the answers, students feel anxious in various situations because of their innate nature. Okay, so the second one is state anxiety. State anxiety is a fear that is perceived as a reaction to a definite situation at a specific moment in time. So it is a mixture of characteristic and situation-specific anxiety. Jadi inilah adalah campuran dari trait anxiety dengan state anxiety, di mana orang yang mengalami state anxiety, mereka hanya merasa cemas di situasi-situasi tertentu saja, dan ini bersifat sementara dan tidak permanen. Contohnya ini jawaban dari students 2. I feel anxious when the person I talk to is fluent in English. I'm anxious when speaking in front of many people, and I'm very anxious when I have to talk to new people. Jadi ini adalah specific moment in time. Mereka hanya merasa cemas ketika mereka harus berbicara bahasa Inggris di depan orang yang lebih fasih, atau mungkin di depan orang banyak dan depan orang baru yang mereka kenali. So we can see here from this answer we can conclude that students feel anxious in certain situation which were external influences. Artinya kecemasan mereka dipengaruhi oleh faktor dari luar dirinya, yaitu lingkungan. Okay, we're gonna move to the third kinds of anxiety. The name is anxiety of specific situation. Anxiety in specific situation refers to the recurrent and multifaceted existence of such anxieties. It's triggered by a particular form of situation or occurrence, such as public speaking, tests, or class participation. So we can see here from the answers from the students. She said she anxious during a presentation, and when suddenly asked to speak in front of the class, or maybe during a formal forum attended by experts. Jadi specific situation ini adalah pada saat-saat tertentu di mana mereka merasa kurang nyaman. Itu adalah salah satu jenis kecemasan yang dipengaruhi oleh situasi. Contohnya pada saat presentasi, atau mungkin tiba-tiba disuruh berbicara di depan kelas, dan mungkin during a formal forum formal seperti yang saya lakukan pada saat ini. So based on those answers, it showed that students feel anxious in certain situations that they were uncomfortable with. Okay, so we're gonna move to the causes of anxiety. According to Horwitz, there are three causes of anxiety. The first one is communication apprehension. Communication apprehension is a kind of anxiety concern about learners' incapability to sufficiently express the thought and build communication with other individuals and make them understand what the speaker said. So when I asked the students, what makes you feel anxious when you speaking English? The answers, when I'm in front of a large group of people, I get anxious and shy, which causes me to stammer, blank, and find it hard to talk because English is not my native language. I still have a limited vocabulary. And also from the students tree, I get anxious when I see the face of the people in front of me. It makes me forget what I want to say. So, communication apprehension adalah salah satu penyebab kecemasan siswa, di mana siswa tidak mampu mengutarakan apa yang ingin mereka katakan, tidak mampu mengutarakan apa yang mereka pikirkan, sehingga membuat mereka cemas. Dan ini setelah mereka mengalami anxiety, mereka akan blank dan melupakan apa yang tadinya ingin mereka sampaikan. Next, the second causes is test anxiety. Test anxiety is the fear of failure in test and a disagreeable experience in many circumstances that learners keep either consciously or unconsciously. So we can see here the answer from student 1. When it comes to speaking exams, I feel excessively afraid. My hands are cold, my heartbeat increase, and of course. Jadi mereka merasa cemas dikarenakan oleh tes anxiety ini. Mereka takut making mistake dan takut gagal dalam tes. Sehingga itu membuat tangan mereka dingin, membuat tangan mereka keringat, dan detak jantung mereka meningkat lebih cepat. And the answer from students 3, it is terrifying to talk in front of a lecture. It causes my palms to sweat. I scared I won't be able to speak clearly since I don't understand the English of the words I will say. Jadi, test anxiety ini adalah kecemasan siswa yang yang menyebabkan siswa merasa cemas karena mereka takut making mistake or gagal dalam tes tersebut. Okay, and the last one is fear of negative evaluation. Fear of negative evaluation as anxiety about the judgments of others, anxiety about their negative assessment, and the expectation that others would judge themselves skeptically. Jadi ini adalah salah satu anxiety yang paling banyak dirasakan oleh siswa. Siswa merasa takut dijudge oleh orang-orang yang mendengar mereka speaking. Entah itu dari teman, dari dosen, maupun dari orang-orang yang mendengar mereka speaking. So, I'm afraid others people, maaf nggak lihat ini. Okay, we can see here from student 5. I'm worried if my grammar and my pronunciation are wrong. And then I'm afraid if other people think what I say is irrelevant to the topic being discussed. Jadi mereka merasa takut bahwa apa yang mereka sampaikan, misalnya idenya tidak relevan dengan apa yang mereka diskusikan, atau mereka merasa bahwa pronunciation-nya kurang tepat, atau mungkin vocabulary-nya yang limited. So we can conclude that the student feel anxious because they are afraid of the judgment from others. Jadi sebenarnya anxiety ini dipengaruhi ada faktor eksternal dan ada faktor internal. Jadi kalau faktor internal dari dalam diri bisa jadi karena lack of preparation atau mungkin limited vocabulary. Sedangkan yang dari eksternal atau lingkungan itu bisa saja anxiety tersebut disebabkan oleh dari materi atau mungkin dari guru misalnya dan dosen. Okay, I think that's enough from me. Thank you so much for your nice attention. I'm sorry if I did any mistake. Thank you so much. I give back it.
Yeah. Very effective. Okay. Actually, I have some questions, but I'm not going to take some of the participants' time. Okay, I think I will give the opportunity to the participants first. Okay, if you have any question, you can ask. Yeah. Okay, boleh. Yeah, sure.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Fernalita dari UIN Samarinda. Menurut pendapat Anda, bagaimana cara mengatasi kecemasan yang berlebihan ketika kita sedang berpublic speaking bahasa Inggris, apalagi kita yang belum sepenuhnya menguasai bahasa Inggris. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much for your nice questions. So I'm gonna answer it. Saya akan menggunakan bahasa Indonesia ya. Jadi bagaimana cara seseorang itu mengatasi anxiety? Sebenarnya setiap orang memiliki cara tersendiri untuk mengatasi anxiety itu sendiri. Salah satu hal yang pertama yang harus dilakukan ketika kita merasa anxiety adalah we have to be relaxed first. Kita harus relax. Kemudian kalian bisa menarik nafas dalam-dalam, mengeluarkannya. Sebenarnya setiap orang memiliki cara yang berbeda-beda. Berdasarkan dari research saya, biasanya ada yang tidak ingin melihat wajah orang-orang yang ada di depannya, hanya melihat ke dinding, ada yang mengepalkan tangan, dan sebagainya macam. Itu tergantung dari kebutuhan Anda sendiri. Seperti itu. Dan kemudian pertanyaan yang kedua adalah gimana kalau mau berbicara berbahasa Inggris tetapi belum sepenuhnya bisa. Yang pertama tentu saja harus dipersiapkan dulu terlebih dahulu. Harus preparation, apa yang ingin disampaikan, materi apanya, itu harus disiapkan terlebih dahulu sebelum speaking in front of the people. I think that's all. Is it clear enough? Okay, thank you.
Maybe we can take one more question.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Fadli. I am one of the delegates from UIN Samarinda. Since you were talking about the anxiety, this is just your opinion. So, in your experience and knowledge and opinions, how yourself dealing with your own anxiety. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for Fadli. Saya rasa kalau anxiety itu adalah sebuah kewajaran, sebuah sifat alamiah yang dirasakan oleh setiap orang. Bahkan orang-orang yang petinggi saja, orang-orang yang punya pengalaman banyak, tentu saja mereka tetap merasa anxiety di waktu-waktu tertentu. Kalau saya sendiri sebenarnya saya merasakan, kenapa saya mengangkat tema ini, karena sebenarnya ini related dengan saya sendiri. Saya sebenarnya masih merasakan anxiety tentu saja ketika berbicara di depan orang dan lain-lain sebagainya. Bagaimana cara saya mengatasi? Yang pertama adalah sebisa mungkin saya mempersiapkan yang terbaik versi saya untuk tampil di depan orang, and then biasanya saya try to relax, mencoba untuk tarik nafas, kemudian mengeluarkan, kemudian tidak menatap wajah orang-orang. Biasanya saya melihat ke dinding untuk mengatasi anxiety itu. Lama-kelamaan setelah cukup tenang, baru bisa berjalan normal. Dan itu biasanya saya alami ketika hanya pada saat awal-awal saja. Misalnya presentasi pada bagian awal saja, nanti setelah presentasi berjalan beberapa menit, anxiety itu akan hilang. This is my own experience, so thank you so much.
Well, actually, Fadli, that was the question that I also wanted to ask. Actually. Ya, ini juga pertanyaan yang mau saya tanyakan tadi, yaitu Anda sendiri bagaimana mengatasi anxiety, speaking anxiety, yaitu kecemasan, merasa cemas, merasa tidak nyaman ketika berbicara gitu. Nah, itu membuat kita kadang-kadang sesuatu yang kita tahu jadi tidak tahu. Kata-kata yang kita biasa ucapkan lupa dan sebagainya. Ya, ini menarik sekali. Ya. Kita masih ada sebentar, masih ada 2 ya. Oh, karena masih ada 2, mungkin untuk sementara untuk Nur Nilam. Jadi saya rasa saya tutup dulu. Silakan kita berikan applause dulu. So let's give. Okay. Let's welcome the next presenter. Who is it? Oh, okay. I think the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrofil mursalin sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. The Honorable Mr. Segu Atio MA, as the chairman of today's panel in this rainy afternoon, and then the honorable all audiences who attend this beautiful place, and then all audiences who attend in this virtual meeting. My name is Rizkyatun Aulia. I'm from Sultan Haji Muhammad Idris State Islamic University of Samarinda. Let me present my research is the difficulties in learning English at SDN 16 Muara Badak in COVID-19 pandemic era. Okay, now I would like to ask the audiences there that when we are going to this place, we are actually meet a lot of students at elementary school beside our hotel. But in Muara Badak, they still cannot do that because of the COVID-19. So it's because it started on the 31st December 2019, where the coronavirus was found in Wuhan, China. It affects a lot of life sectors, such as in education itself. According to the Oxford University, education is a process of teaching, training, and learning, especially in schools, colleges, or universities. Where it's to improve knowledge and develop skills. As we can see that, especially in school, colleges, or universities, this is where we used to having the education. But because of this global situation now, we are having the online learning. As a result of this global situation, the Indonesian government, through the Ministry of Education and Culture, has mandated that all educational institutions in the country have to online learning since the 17th March of 2020. I'm taking this research the English lesson, sir, in the SDN 16, because I'm also from English Education Department. As I know from the journal that I have read, there are lately research about the online learning, but after the pandemic, I would like to become one of them who research this about the English language difficulties in Muara Badak. It's especially SDN 16 Muara Badak at Gas Alam Badak 1 village in Kutai Kartanegara Regency of East Borneo Province. If you guys want to know, Badak 1 is right here, like near to the beach. It's actually very small village right here, sir. like right here. It's very small village actually, near to the beach, right here. And then the method I use is the Miles Huberman research method, where the data collection was collected by doing an interview with a teacher who actually in that school, they don't have an English education undergraduate. They only have the elementary school of education teaching undergraduate. So after the data collection, I'm doing the data condensation where I redact the data and highlight the important parts after interviewing the teacher. And then after that, I'm doing the data display. We all know that by redact the data, we can use it. If we wanna present, now we can present like in text or diagram or chart. But in my research, I'm doing the narrative text. And then after that, the drawing conclusions. Here's are the results that I find after interview with the teacher. First, the limited face-to-face interaction. In facing difficulties, we also need to find the solutions. So in limited face-to-face interaction, now we are doing with the online learning, we are giving the WhatsApp group and then Zoom so they can have the communication with the teacher and the students. And then the second is gadget accessibility. In the beginning of online learning, there were some students don't have phone. Even in their family, their parents don't know how to use phone. And even though they don't have phone, but because of this COVID-19, in these days, now they can have fun and learning together. And then the third is internet quota and signal. We know that this is very important part where internet quota and internet signal, not only in Muara Badak, the small village, but also in many provinces. But the solution of internet quota itself that we have been giving by the Kemendikbud and Kemenak a free quota so the students can learning even in the pandemic. And then the last one is learning media. It's very useful when we are having the learning media that effectively in learning. But because of the COVID, in the SDN 16 Muara Badak, they use only 2 apps, which is the Zoom and WhatsApp group. But the teacher, by doing the interview, she told me that because of the internet quota and the gadget accessibility and internet signal, the teacher asked the students only once just for joining the Zoom because all those difficulties they have faced. So after that, I would like to present about the English learning in SDN 16 Muara Badak, how the learning progress happened. First, the listening skill. The teacher offers an audio of new vocabularies in WhatsApp group and asks the students to repeat and send a voice note. So after that, but in the speaking skills, the teacher gives new vocabularies or sentences. Hence, also students make short videos. So listening skills and speaking skills are actually very connected in this learning process, where the teacher giving the audio, and then after giving the audio, the student asks the student to send a voice note or making a video. But when with the listening, the teacher only gives some new vocabularies or words. But in the speaking, the teacher asks about the sentences or maybe some of the text. And then in the reading skill, teacher gives an example on how to read a text from the book. And by reading the text, the teacher asks the student to read the text and question based on the text. So it's actually connected also to the writing, where the teacher explains the material from the books and ask the student, for example, matching words or pictures, hence take a picture of what student wrote in the book. So basically the reading skill, children ask about the video or the text, and then after they read, they have to answer the question. And then after answer the question, they need to write it down on the book. And after that, they need to take a picture and then send it to the WhatsApp group, Sarah. We know that in the pandemic COVID-19, we are facing many difficulties and challenges, but we have to know that we are as a human who think we need to find any kind of solutions in many kinds of difficulties we face. Because education, as Nelson Mandela said, that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. I think that is all for me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Leah, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Aulia has just provided us with a very useful presentation about about English teaching in elementary school, right? Yeah, it's really interesting. This is a common problem because many parents complain about how teachers give the lessons using online media. For example, some teachers are really lazy. Maybe they just send the material and then send the homework, and after that they just do nothing. They didn't, sometimes they don't even give any comment. So I think it's really interesting. So do you have any question or comment about her research? Actually, I have questions actually, but I don't want to. No. The thing is, I don't want to take your time, okay? Because I want to give you, the opportunity to ask questions, to respond to the panelist presentation. I'm going to be just like a moderator or something like that. I'm going to moderate. I'm not going to ask questions unless if nobody wants to ask, or if nobody has a question. So I have questions. You can go. Oh, no, yeah, solution. No, you can ask this, you can ask.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for your nice presentation. I just want to ask you, because you bring the issues about the difficulties in learning English, and my question is just the solution of all the difficulties in your article. That's it. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salah. So do you want me to answer in Indonesia or in English? Sorry. Okay, this is the 4 difficulties that have been found from the interview with the teacher. So the first difficulties is limited face-to-face interaction, right? We have to stay at home. So the solution by giving the teacher is having the WhatsApp group to communicate with the students, and also doing the Zoom meeting. Okay, that is answering for the difficulties in limited face-to-face interaction. And then the gadget accessibility, which I think this one is the hardest one, because as I said before, many parents don't have phones at the beginning of online learning. But now they can have it because of the impact of the COVID-19. They afford themselves so that their children can have just like a mobile phone with the most small capacity, like memory, so they can have the online learning. So that is the solution. That is the solution of gadget accessibility. And then the third is internet quota and signal. For the signal, of course, I cannot give you the solution because it's actually very random. Many, right, sir? But the internet quota, yeah, we cannot control about the signal. Yeah, but sometimes we can control it. But about the internet quota, the Kemendikbud and the Kemenak has given the free quota. So I think that is the solution that has been given by our government itself. And then the last is learning media. Learning media is using the WhatsApp group and Zoom. So the hardest part is maybe some teachers, sir, ask the students, where are you? But they don't respond. So that's why we have the WhatsApp group. In the WhatsApp group, we can ask the students one by one to present themselves or sending the voice note. Like, Assalamualaikum, Miss, I'm Rizka Tonalia, I present to this class. So that is how learning media solutions and in learning media difficulties, and that is the solution. That is all for me. Do you need any more question or any kind of more present about the material? Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else wanted to ask the question? Yeah, if you want to have a question, just ask. Because if I'm out, nobody asks. Okay. Yes, sir.
My question is very simple. What is the most favorite media, especially teachers in East Kalimantan use in teaching online? What kind of media do they usually use, and what is their favorite? I think
what is what, sir?
Favorite. Their favorite.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, sir. I think in East Kalimantan, they use a lot of WhatsApp. First, WhatsApp. And then the second for the higher education, like in higher education is Zoom or Google Classroom. And then the third one is, no, I'm sorry, Google Meeting. And then the third is Google Classroom. For the Zoom, I think for the higher education, they are using Zoom because it's very important. But for some people using Google Meeting because Zoom has limited time. No, yeah. Yeah, and then the preview. Yeah, so that is why I said Zoom or Google Meeting, because when they're using Zoom, they can share screen, and then they can see the participants. But using the Google Classroom, they can share, but they cannot see the participant in there. And that is my answers for your question, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So give a round of applause to Aulia. Okay, so I would like to invite the last but not least, the presenter from Sultan Idris State Islamic University of Samarinda, Stephanie. Stephanie, the floor is yours.
Okay, while to waiting my material show up, so I will open this presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. The Honorable Mr. Sugu Atio, MA, as the chairman in this afternoon of venue, and then firstly, I want to say thanks to all of the audience and all of the community that have been spent their time to gathering in this room. And at here, I want to present that my article entitled "Honing English Skill, Honing E-commerce English Skill through UKM Eco Winsi Samarinda in COVID-19 pandemic." So maybe we will wait for my material show up. Okay, there's no. Oke, mohon maaf atas ketidaknyamanannya. Maybe I will start my presentation. So at here, I took the entitled Honing e-commerce English Skill through UKM Eco UINSI Samarinda in COVID-19 pandemic. So before I start my presentation, I will introduce myself. Okay. My name is Stephanie, and I am one of the delegation of State Islamic University of Sultan Haji Muhammad Idris Samarinda, and I am from my major is English Education Department, and now I'm 5th semester. Next. Okay. So I will start my presentation with the background. So COVID-19 or coronavirus disease 2019 is
this is the first appeared in Wuhan, China on the last December 2019. And this disease causes by the virus called SARS-CoV-2. And this virus looks like a MERS and SARS that impact respiration of lung system, but it caused like a pneumonia. So as far as we know that pneumonia is the genetic illness in human's body, but because of SARS-CoV-2, it's become a disease in this era. And because the characteristic is really fast to infection to human bodies, so this virus is really quietly spread through of the world. And according to Juliana 2020, COVID-19 declared as a pandemic on 11 of March 2020 by World Health Organization or WHO, include Indonesia. So in Indonesia is appeared on 2nd March 2020. Okay. So according to Sanjaya 2020, this virus or COVID-19 is really significant impact to organization activities, and this happened to one of the student activities unit that comes in UNC Samarinda, namely English Community Organization or ECO. So what is ECO? ECO or English Community Organization is one of organization in UNC Samarinda that have focused to enhance or increase in students' English talents and skills. And this organization was formed on 2007 on August 27 by Mr. Rudy Purnomo MAG. On the first time, this is the organization that this is not organization, but this is just like students are gathering together and learning English for make their English better. But on this year, 2007, Mr. Rudy Purnomo MAG announced that this is the community or this is the English Community Organization. But on that time, this is the illegal organization because not officially called as UKM or in English, student activity units. And 10 years, it has been 10 years this organization work in illegal way. But on June 10, 2014, ECO was officially promoted as UKM because this organization is really interested by the docent and get attention from them. Okay, next. Okay, so at ECO, there are some programs at here. We can see. Okay, there are 3 categories of programs at here. The first one is weekly, second one is monthly, and the last one is annually. So these programs are always run by ECO. And then I will explain one by one. So at here, we can see the picture at here. This is all of the ECOMETs. Oh, by the way, ECOMETs is the name that used to call of the students join this ECO. So in ECO, there's not like used to see the semester of the students, and all of the students can join this community. And then, yeah, like here, we can see all of the ECOMETs gathering together in the campus environment. And as the name weekly, this program is always held in once a week. And what they're doing at here, they are studying together and they're learning together. The mentor is among of the ECOMETs. So the next one is monthly. Okay, at here, this is the different environment. At here, we can see this is the, I think it is a Mosque Islamic Center in Samarinda. This is the biggest mosque is in Samarinda. As the name only, this is the activity, or this is the program that held once a month. So it's different with it. And why ICO choosing this environment out of the campus environment, because the ICO wants to looking for some different atmosphere, so the study learning isn't really not bored. The last one is annual again. So at here there's some category of agenda here. The first one is the cadre program that it must join each of students in ICO, and this is the R&B or recruitment of the new member in ICO, and then IPL is our English training leadership to increase the leadership of the ICOMETS, and the last is the mentoring to show the ICOMETS how to mentor, how to good in the mentor. And then the second one is English Festival. This is the biggest agenda that ICOs have. So at here we have a competition, maybe some talk show or podcast. So it's always held in one of year. And the last one is ICOS Goes To. So ICOS Goes To is the activity that ICO always used to get in Indonesia is silaturahim with the others community in out of the campus. And next. So back to the COVID-19. So COVID-19 has impact all of the programs in ICO. It's monthly, weekly, or annually is impact. So before COVID-19 come, we still can face to face. It means like we can still getting together in one place, or we can walk to any place together. But now we always do it online. It's monthly, weekly, or annually. So the generation that happens that feel this moment is 2020 ICO generation. So this is also my subject on my research. Then it is still again. Okay. So this is my research objective. There are 3 points at here. The first one is assessing. Okay, sorry. The first one is assessing and gathering information about the development of ICOMETS capabilities with the program owned by ICO Winsi Samarinda during the COVID-19 pandemic. Second one is identify the factor that support and inhibit the effectiveness ICO's program. And the last one is learning what ICOMETS think about the programs provided by ICO. So at here we can see the results. I categorize it for 4 points. The first one is ICOMETS capabilities development before and after joining the UKM ICO. So at here, it writes that the ICOMETS talents were still basic before entering ICO and have not progressed due to a lack of direct exercise. So before they join the ICO, the students not all have a good English, so they just have a basic without any training. So maybe they want to increase and want to get more like learning English and practice it in UKM ICO, so they join the ICO. So here it said that some ICOMETS are already quite proficient, are quite fluency in English, and enroll in ICO to enhance their English once more. So here we can see that some ICOMETS are who is really fluent in English is still wants to join ECO because they want to improve their English. It is they like they don't feel satisfied with their skills and they try to join UKM ECO to enhance again their skills. And like ECO's motto, even the best can be improved. And this is the second point, condition of methods, teaching materials, media, and environment in the UKM ECO. So the condition of the four aspects that I said above, in each program run by ECO during the pandemic is really quite varied. Next. So this is the third point. There are factors that impact the UKM ECO programs during the pandemic COVID-19. So there are some factors that impact the effectiveness of programs in ECO. So the first one is inhibiting factors. So there are 3 points that I got from the interview that I'm doing on my research. The first one is distance. And the second one is poor network, and the third is laziness. So at this distance, all of the ECOMETs not in Samarinda, so it's really difficult to gathering together, and we must do something that, to gathering out of the ECOMETs, but maybe it's only in via Zoom or Google Meeting or something like that, but it is the one of the matter because it's really impact to effectiveness of the programs of ECO. And the second one is poor network. So not all of operator or not all of the area that have a good connection or network. So it's really the mind of the problem or the matter in ECO. So because it is out of the control on our, so we can control it, and this is really like the mind of the matter in ECO. And the last one is like, so ECOMETs, not all ECOMETs is it's have a free time. Maybe they have tasks on their school, or maybe they have some like other activities that make them so lazy to join the ECO. Maybe they just like join ECO and leave them without without watch or get in touch with the others of ECOMETs. And the last one is the ECOMET certification with UKM ECO's program during the pandemic COVID-19. ECOMETs are currently certified with the exciting programs. However, due to the several factors that I tell before, some of ECOMETs are also dissatisfied with the current programs. So this is the conclusion of the research that I got. So based on the research, some ECOMETs who regularly participate in the UKM ECO programs during the pandemic have improved their English quite well, and they are also feel quite satisfied. So that's all from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Well, actually, we are running out of time, so time is over. But I would like to hear one question, maybe. Maybe we can take one question if you want to. Anybody? Oh, yeah. Fadli. One question. Okay.
Ini. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Fadli. Saya delegasi dari UINSI Samarinda. Pertanyaan saya untuk panelis, bagaimana menurut Anda perbedaan keefektivitasan dari program ECO sebelum dan sudah pandemi? Apakah mengurangi kebermanfaatan dari 3 program Eko yang mengurangi keefektivitasan ketiga program dari program Eko yang panelis jelaskan. Terima kasih.
Thank you for the questions. I will answer it. Before and after the impact of COVID-19. So maybe pakai bahasa Indonesia ya. Oke. Jadi untuk perbedaannya sendiri itu kan sudah jelas. Kalau misalnya kalau kita belajar langsung itu lebih memudahkan, lebih lebih cepat menangkap e-commerce dalam mempelajari bahasa Inggris. But because of the impact of COVID-19, this program it's really difficult because maybe like ada beberapa faktor kekurangan yang tadi saya sebutkan tadi, dan itu semua di luar kontrol. Jadi untuk pihak anggota e-commerce sendiri, UKM Iko sendiri itu pun di luar kontrol ya sebenarnya. Tapi kalau menurut saya sih ini sangat berdampak dari kualitas program dari Iko. Tapi untuk kedepannya mungkin UKM Iko bisa lebih memanfaatkan teknologi yang ada. Semisal nih di tahun depan masih COVID, ya. Jadi mungkin kan kita ini generasi milenial, masa nggak memanfaatkan teknologi dengan baik. Mungkin itu bisa mempengaruhi efektivitas program Iko, mungkin bisa lebih baik lagi. Mungkin that's all from me.
Okay, well, because we are running out of time, and actually I have one more question, but maybe it's already answered by someone else. Yeah, because my question is almost similar, but I think I'm going to skip my question. Well, let's give Stephanie one more round of applause. Okay, thank you everybody for your participation and your contribution. Terima kasih atas partisipasi dan kontribusi semua peserta, dan juga kepada panitia and also to the committee. Kita berikan tepuk tangan. So they've done a really wonderful job. Ini mereka sudah bekerja dengan luar biasa sehingga memungkinkan kita bisa bertemu, bisa berdiskusi dan sebagainya. Oke, akhir kata tidak ada lagi yang bisa saya yang ingin saya sampaikan. Saya ingin tutup saja dengan mengucapkan alhamdulillah. Mari sama-sama itu dengan alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Ya, selesai. Pak presenter.
Saya ucapkan terima kasih untuk seluruh panelis dan juga share yang telah memandu agenda kita kali ini di venue ketiga. Kita doakan semoga segala hal yang menjadi ikhtiar kawan-kawan membuat artikel dan lain-lain ini bermanfaat untuk halayak ramai. Bagaimanapun sebagai seorang mahasiswa kita harus mengedepankan asas kemanfaatan untuk seluruh makhluk hidup yang ada di dunia. Basic dakwah mungkin hanya itu. Saya mohon maaf karena saya tidak bisa menggunakan bahasa Inggris karena forumnya ini sebenarnya menggunakan bahasa Inggris semua. Jika memang ada kata-kata ataupun tingkah laku dari kami panitia, mohon dimaafkan. Jika ada yang salah dari kami itu murni dari kami. Jika ada yang benar itu datangnya dari Tuhan. Mungkin hanya itu. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Wallahu a'lam. Wallahul muwaffiq ila aqwamit thoriq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Do you take picture?
Yes.
Okay. No, here. Oh, siap. Saya udah kasih ini siapa tuh? Kemarin sih masuk ke Samarinda.
Jangan jerak ke Pontianak. Jangan kampung ke Pontianak.
Ya kan?
Ega, masuk dikasih. Apa? Aku mau ini.
Udah di-save lah rekamannya?
Belum. Oke, di situ.